Check it. Alright guys, what is up? You are back for another video with Data Zero. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. This is your preparation and update for the rest of the week, what I'm expecting from AMC, GME, and SPY. I already did a live stream breaking down all of the information that you need to know, but if you want that in a more condensed form, I got you right here. This video is not financial advice and should not be taken as such. Let's go ahead and hop in the charts, the facts, the data. Let's go. What's up? You are back for another video with Data Zero. In this video, we're looking at AMC stock, GME stock, and the SPY stock. This is your preparation for Monday. Now, I just dropped a live stream with all the information that you need to know, but if you didn't catch that live stream, you can get it in a condensed form right here. So I'm going to talk about all the key points, what I'm doing, and where I think this thing is headed. Apologize if you do hear a little bit of background noise. It is storming outside right now, so you might hear a little bit of rain. I do have the music playing though to try and cover it up and make the video a little bit more entertaining. Let's go ahead and hop in the charts and see what we have going on. This video is not financial advice. Please do not take it as such. Do your own research before buying any stock or crypto asset. Let's go ahead and hop in and see what we have going on. So the first thing we have to point out is this uptrend. We do have a uptrend here on AMC. We have 1, 2, 3 touch points on this current trend line, 1, 2, 3 touch points on this current trend line, and this is called a ascending channel. We have a breakout of this bullish megaphone. You guys can see that we tested it not once but 2 times, this resistance here as support, and I do think we're going to continue seeing a push to the upside. Now, I did talk about a trade that I am making here on Monday. Me personally, I'm buying some additional shares to make a trade on AMC. Now, this is very risky. Do not follow me. Do not do what I'm doing, but here on Monday, I do expect to see a flat or upside as we do hold or retest $4.80 as support. I do expect to see a slight retest maybe of these lower lows, but then get a bounce to the upside, or expect to see this price channel hold. But I expect to see price stay relatively flat into earnings is what I'm trying to say. So we'll see basically a flat day into earnings into Tuesday, and then potentially see a push to the upside. Now, if this channel continues to hold, you will see a little bit of upside here Monday into earnings. And normally, historically, what happens after earnings is we do see downside. I'm not going to lie to anyone and try to say that's not what is historically happened for AMC, but I do believe that this time is going to be different, and we actually going to see upside after this earnings event. And I'm taking a big risk and putting my money where my mouth is and buying some additional shares, not calls, additional shares to buy and trade into the week for a swing trade. So that's what I'm doing on AMC. I do think we're going to see upside or consolidation here into Monday. Again, we could have a possible retest of these lower lows. These are our supports at $4.90 and $4.80. I expect these levels to hold as support. What I'm expecting most likely to happen is this trend continue and we see upside into Tuesday, and then even more upside after Tuesday. If we go ahead and look at what the barge pattern is telling us, you can see that the barge pattern is calling for more upside as well. Again, you never want to rely on just one thing. The barge pattern can come off track at any time. If this continues to track though, and we do see that upside that we are expecting, maybe we have to come back down and retest this $40 or $4.90 region, $4.80 region as support, but you will see additional upside after that. And if this barge pattern continues to track and we see this thing push to the upside like this and come back down and consolidate in this range, me personally, I am going all in, as I do think that will be the consolidation point before the run up to the upside to see all-time highs on AMC. We have multiple technicals and indicators showing us that we're going to see upside on AMC. If we go ahead and look, I will show you guys the Wyckoff theory that we have playing out. Again, I'm not a Wyckoff expert, but I will show you guys the pattern analysis based off of what I see. Again, I am not a Wyckoff expert. I'm not going to claim to be a Wyckoff expert, but I will explain what I see here based off of the patterns. We go down into our PS. Let's go ahead and set the analysis up as well for AMC. So I'll give you guys, so the Wyckoff starts here when we test this yellow line and break it as resistance and get rejected. So you come back down into your PS. This is your PS. Notice your PS is a sharp sell-off. Let's go ahead and move this over here. Notice your PS is a sharp sell-off. Okay, it's a sharp sell-off, but you have a point of support here, and then you drop to the downside. Now I have it marked in yellow or in blue, our point of support. This is our point of support here, and you can see we get this push to the downside. This is a Wyckoff accumulation. So let's go ahead and move this here. I do have this off slightly, so I'm going to go ahead and move this down. This is going to be our point of support here. So where we're returning to, this blue line is where we're returning to. Okay, so you guys can see this is your PS. You have your sharp drop down. You see that rip to the upside, and then sharp drop down all the way to your bottom. So you can see that sharp drop down, rip to the upside, then sharp drop down all the way to your bottom. Then you have something called a automatic retest. You go into your automatic retest. So we have our sharp drop down, we have that pump up, sharp drop down. Then we go into our automatic retest. Your automatic retest is going to be right here. You guys can see this top going into the automatic retest. Now let's go ahead and look at what the Wyckoff accumulation is saying. Then you drop down and go to your hump shape spring. You guys can see you drop down to a low, going into a hump shape into your spring. Then you can see we drop down into our low after reading that peak of the AR, dropping down to a low. You guys can see that low right here, dropping down to that low, and then getting that hump shape into the spring. You guys can see the spring was off of that $4 level. Let's go ahead and check out what Wyckoff accumulation is saying. So we go into our spring, which was that $4 level, and get upside. So after this, we should be seeing upside, and you guys can see marked in blue, we do have a uptrend to the upside, and this uptrend should take us all the way back to this blue starting point. That is much past the golden zone of $8 to $12. It's right in that range, and I do think once we pass that $8 to $12 range, you're going to see AMC absolutely go to the moon. Again, $8 to $12 is the golden zone. I want to see AMC push above that and use that as support to confirm it, and then see a massive rip to the upside. And the Wyckoff accumulation is showing that's exactly what we have. We also have a macro triple bottom, so you guys can see this is the top of that. Then you come all the way down, bottom number one, get a clean bounce. That's what you want to see for a bottom. Then you come back down, retesting that as the bottom, get another clean bounce. Then we come back down, get another clean bounce, bringing us back to the upside. That is a macro triple bottom, taking us back to the starting point of $16. Again, Wyckoff accumulation, we have technical analysis, we have cycle theory as well. All of these things are why I am so bullish on AMC. Let's go ahead and check out cycle theory. So you guys can see we have that massive euphoria rally to the upside. Let's go ahead and check out what's going on for AMC and show you guys that. So you have this massive euphoria rally to the upside. You guys can see that here. Then you have a drop to the downside, and you have this upwards consolidation chop. If you guys were holding AMC, you guys will remember this bull flag. Every YouTuber was talking about this bull flag here, saying we were about to go to the moon when this bull flag breaks. But this was actually the complacency stage. This is where you needed to be selling off your position. If we go ahead and look at what the psychology is telling us, you can see that sharp drop down and the upwards consolidation chop is the complacency stage. We need to just cool off before the next bull rally. Then you can see a huge break to the downside. Guys, look what happens. A huge break to the downside into anger and depression, which is going to be a lower low. Let's go ahead and check out the chart. You can see anger, depression, which is a lower low. And we are now going into the disbelief rally, where a lot of people think that AMC cannot recover. A lot of people are like, no, this is a sucker's rally. It's going to crash back down. And that is the exact definition of a disbelief rally. This psychology allows them to buy the bottoms and sell the tops every single time, because it makes it hard for average people that don't understand what's going on to buy these bottoms, buy these lows, and get rid of the tops. Again, complacency stage is meant to rope you in thinking it's going to a higher high. Depression stage is meant to rope you in thinking it's going to a lower low, but this is the bottom for AMC. I do think we're going to see this upside again based off of cycle and psychology theory, based off of technical analysis, double bottom, falling wedge. We also have Wyckoff accumulation as well. Multiple data sets giving us confirmation and confluence that we're going to see this thing go to the moon. Now, as far as time frame, guys, I do not want to give you dates. I want to give you time frame. But if you look at the bottom of your screen on the bars pattern, again, the algo does speed up and slow down, but it does give you a rough estimate of around September, and that is when I'm looking for this thing to rip to the upside around September. That is the closest I'm going to give anyone any date. I am not giving anyone a particular day, a particular week. I'm going to tell you that, and that is it. You guys can look at the bottom of the screen and spoil it for yourself if you want, but if you get let down, do not blame me. But that is what I'm looking at for the AMC squeeze. I do think we are going to see a squeeze to the upside. Let's go ahead and check out GME, and then check out SPY stock, why I do think SPY is going to be crashing, why I think GME is going to be running to the upside, and why they are going to decouple based off of the technical analysis, facts, and data. So if we go ahead and look at GME, GME is basically consolidating in this falling wedge. This falling wedge is the last wedge that takes us to the breakout to the upside, breaking out of the macro wedge here on TradingView. Now on Webull, I have it marked differently, but you guys can see the macro falling wedge marked here on TradingView gets a break, and we have this playing to the upside. Now the same thing with AMC I could run through with GME. I'm not going to spend as much time on that because it would be a very, very long video, but we do have a Wyckoff accumulation. We do have a double bottom. We have bottom number 1 right here, bottom number 2, so you guys can see the bottom number 1, bottom number 2. That will take us all the way back up to this $40 level. We also have Wyckoff accumulation, and which we are in the spring right now, which I do think that was this right here. Now we might need to retest this low of $20 or $20.50. It does look like we have to retest it here based off of the bars pattern. It shows us getting a bounce to the upside, coming back down and getting a touch of this wedge, which I'm tracking here on TradingView, and then blasting to the upside off of that wedge. And this looks like exactly what price is doing. You guys can see that price is staying inside of this wedge, getting a bounce to the current upside, which is what the bars pattern is saying, about to get that retest of this and launch it upside. So again, bars pattern on GME playing out very, very, very well. So this is what I'm looking at for GME. Again, on the macro, I do think we're going to see more upside. As far as the micro and the technical analysis, I do think GME is going to see more upside as well. You guys can see that the wedge we're tracking here on Webull, you guys can see that we're on top of that. It looks like we're trying to get a breakout. We're retesting it right now. That would give us a bullish push to the upside. And basically what the bars pattern is saying, we'll get a push to the upside, hit our head on this resistance, come back down to get one more lower low, and then get a huge rip to the upside. So that's what I'm looking at for GME stock. I do think we're about to see a massive pump after we get that retest of a lower low. So it does look like GME needs to get a little bit more momentum to the downside, retesting macro sloping resistance here one more time. You guys can see we've been tracking the wedge on Webull. Again, the placement is slightly different here on Webull. Just ignore that. You guys can see that it's tracking exactly as need to be. You guys can see that we're using this as support. You guys can see that we retested it several times, and we are about to launch to the upside. Again, retesting it one more time is what I expect to see. This is a 2-year sloping resistance, so we need to confirm it multiple times as support. I believe we're going to see one more push up, come back down, and then get that pump to the upside, exactly like the bars pattern is saying. That's what the macro and micro technical analysis is saying as well. And I did predict a green week for GME, a green week for AMC, and then a red week for SPY. Let's go ahead and hop into SPY. Let's go ahead and hop into SPY and show you guys what's going on with SPY. Now, I want to point out there's already a head and shoulders in play on SPY. You guys can see here's your shoulder right here, here's your head right here, and then here is your shoulder. Your break line for that is right here. It's going to be this line. Let's go ahead and change the color of that line for you guys so you guys can see very clearly. So we're going to make that line white. That's going to be your break line for this head and shoulders. You guys can already see that we went up and confirmed that as resistance and got rejected hard. Okay, we got rejected hard. Now what I'm expecting after this big downtrend is this support to hold. But if this support does not hold on SPY, you're going to see major downside on SPY. Let me explain. If we cannot hold this macro sloping support right here, this yellow line, if this cannot be held, you're going to see this thing capitulate hard. And it looks like we have the momentum. It looks like the bears have the momentum to break right through this very cleanly. So you want to watch for that 446 level here on SPY, 446, 445, 445 to be exact. You want to watch 445 very carefully. If 445 breaks as resistance and it gets retested as resistance, you're going to see this thing capitulate hard. Now, what I'm expecting is what's marked here in blue. I expect SPY to actually get a slight bounce, completing a overall larger head and shoulders pattern. So I'm expecting SPY to get a bounce up to about 451, retesting that previous level that we confirmed as the head and shoulders above us, retesting that as resistance and getting a move to the downside, filling these gap fills to the downside. You can see here on the macro time frame, SPY is looking very bearish. Let me explain. We have a bearish engulfing here on the macro time frame. You guys can see this bearish engulfing here on the daily time frame. This was confirmed when this line, when this candle broke below. So you guys can see that the bearish engulfing was at about 451. When this candle closed below 451, that was confirming this bearish engulfing. That is showing us momentum is shifting to the downside on the macro time frame, on the bigger time frames. This is something that traders want to be aware of. You can see that the alligator is starting to curl to the downside as well. We can see that MACD is starting to flip as well. Again, multiple indicators showing that momentum is going to the downside. You can also see this bearish divergence here in the you guys can see the bearish divergence here with the volume. You guys can see that volume is on a overall downtrend, but price is on a overall uptrend. That is bearish divergence in the volume, showing that this uptrend is not very strong at all. We also have multiple gap fills to the downside, so I'm actually looking for SPY to crash. I'm looking for SPY to actually capitulate and crash. I do think we're going to see a major correction here on SPY. And we also have more evidence of that here on the bigger time frames. Again, you can show that bearishness is coming into the larger time frames here on the daily time frame. Again, multiple confirmations with this micro head and shoulders. You guys can see this head and shoulders here, confirming it as resistance, getting the push to the downside. If that gets confirmed as resistance one more time, it is going to be over for SPY. If you are bullish on SPY and you want to see SPY continue, so like let's say I was very bullish on SPY and thought it was going to continue up, I'd want to see it break this level as support and use it as support. So you'd want to see SPY break above 451, 452, and then use that as support to get it pushed upside, possibly filling this gap here. But I don't even think this gap might get filled. I think it might be there for quite some time, but we will see how this plays out. Again, even if it did come up to fill this gap, if it cannot hold this level of support, you're going to see crash and capitulation and an overall double top and or head and shoulders type scenario here on a SPY. It's in a macro bear flag. We can have a macro bear flag. This was a possible false break of that bear flag. If this level cannot be held as support, again, you're going to see major capitulation because of this bear flag. This is a huge macro bear flag with a nasty price target to the downside. We can see that MACD starting to curl on the weekly time frame. RSI is overbought. Again, multiple indications that this rally is done and going to fizzle out. I do not think we will see all-time highs like a lot of people are saying. I think we're actually about to see the major correction start right now. The Fed has also said they are aggressively selling off their balance sheet. Again, more indications are showing that the macro fundamentals, the macro technicals are shifting to the bear side, and why I think we're going to see a massive correction. And you guys can see with the economy as well, the economy is not doing well. We are in a technical recession. Okay, we're in a technical recession. We have 2 negative quarters of GDP. That is a technical recession when you have 2 negative quarters of GDP, and that is exactly what we have. But they went and changed the definition of a recession, and they're saying we're not in a technical recession, but I do think we are in a recession. As far as macroeconomics, I do think Bitcoin is going to be decoupling from SPY. We could see a little bit of breakdown if SPY crashes, but I think overall Bitcoin will decouple. We'll have a bull run into 2024. I'm a strong avid believer into crypto. I believe that we're going to see SPY have a bear market and go to the downside. I believe AMC and GME are going to decouple and have a massive MOASS in this recession. I've always been a huge proponent that the recession was going to correlate with the AMC and GME squeeze. But guys, this is pretty much everything I have for you. If you're having a great weekend, I hope you are. And if you found this video informative, go ahead and press like, subscribe for more content, and remember, you can check me out on Twitter and Discord for even more Data Zero updates. On my Discord, I give minute-by-minute update information. I post all of my research, all of my technical analysis there. So if you want to check that out, it's only $50 for a lifetime invite. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, link down below for that, and you guys can get into that. Just hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, inbox me, and you guys can get in by paying $50. Or I have a membership you can join for $2.99 a month, cancel anytime. You get validation as a member. Your name gets put on the home screen, as well as you get access to members only content. You get validation in the lives as being a member, special badges, and more for being a member. That's $2.99 a month, cancel anytime. But if you want to support me for absolutely free, I know times are hard, I know times are tough. All you have to do is share the video, press like or subscribe. That is a great way and the best way to support me for absolutely nothing. As always, have fun, stay safe, make money. Peace out. All right, y'all, that was the video. If you found it informative, all you have to do is go ahead and press like, press subscribe for more content like this. And as always, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, a great day. Have fun, stay safe, make money. Peace out.